2:14 a.m. That's the exact digital neon green glow burning into my retinas from the alarm clock on my nightstand. The air in this apartment isn't just hot, it's heavy, sticky, smelling faintly of stale coffee and the cheap bourbon I used to drown the heat about 3 hours ago. The ceiling fan doesn't even spin right, it just wobbles on its rusted hinge, cutting the humid summer air into heavy, suffocating chunks that settle right on your chest. You ever feel like the walls are sweating with you? Like the very bricks of the building are exhaling all the misery they witnessed during the day. That's every single night in this town. Then the phone rings. It doesn't buzz. It doesn't sing some stupid digital melody like the cell phone burning a hole in my pocket. No. I'm talking about the heavy, black, retro landline sitting on the kitchen counter. A relic from the previous tenant that I never bothered to disconnect. When that bell hits the metal shell inside, it doesn't just make a noise, it shatters the silence, it cuts straight through your skull when the rest of the city is dead and buried. I don't move at first. I just lie there, staring at the water stains on the ceiling, letting it ring. 1, 2, 3 times. Every vibration makes the wooden table beneath it groan. My hand is shaking slightly as I finally slide my legs off the couch, the cheap faux leather peeling away from my bare skin with a wet, tearing sound. I walk across the cold linoleum floor, picking up the receiver. I don't say a word. I don't give them the satisfaction of a polite hello. I just press the cold plastic to my ear and listen to the static. It sounds like distance, like miles of copper wire buried under wet dirt. Detective. A voice finally says. It's breathing hard, heavy, raspy. The kind of breath that rattles in the back of the throat, like he's been running a marathon through a swamp, or like he's slowly choking on his own fluid. It's low, completely devoid of any human warmth, a voice that belongs to someone who hasn't spoken to another living soul in months. You left your back door unlocked. My eyes instantly snap toward the dark hallway leading to the kitchen. My skin turns ice cold despite the 90-degree heat. My hand automatically drops to my waist, searching for the familiar cold steel of my service weapon, but it's sitting on the coffee table 6 feet away. My heart starts hammering against my ribs, a frantic, desperate thumping like a trapped bird trying to break through its cage. I'm not in your apartment, ma'am. The voice chuckles. It's a low, wet, mocking sound that makes my stomach turn. Relax, take a breath, detective. But she is. Or, well, let's say what's left of her is. You know where Route 9 cuts through the old woods? Where the gravel turns into cracked asphalt and the trees block out the moonlight? Yeah, out by the old quarry. The stone pit where they used to dump the factory waste before the county shut it down. I grip the receiver so hard my knuckles turn white, the plastic groaning under the pressure. Who the hell is this? If you're looking for a joke, you picked the wrong night and the wrong cop. The guy making your career, detective. The voice whispers, shifting into something sickeningly intimate, like he's standing right behind me, breathing down my neck. Go look at the stone pit. Walk down the muddy path until you smell the stagnant water. You'll find her right at the edge, where the drop-off begins. Oh, and detective. She's wearing that blue dress you like. The silk one with the silver zipper down the back. The exact one your ex-fiancé left in your bedroom closet when she packed her bags and walked out on you last month. Beautiful dress. Fits her perfectly, even with the dark stains spreading across the chest. The line goes dead. Just a sharp, hollow click, followed by the continuous, mocking drone of the dial tone. I slowly lower the receiver. My breath is coming in short, jagged gasps now. The heat in the room suddenly feels suffocating, like someone is holding a hot pillow over my face. He knows the dress. He knows the closet. He knows the layout of my apartment. He knows the exact failure that keeps me awake every single night. This isn't just some random psycho pulling a prank on a graveyard shift cop. This is personal. This is tailored. I walk back to the coffee table, grab my Glock, slide it into the holster, and grab my keys. Let's go for a ride into the dark. The highway at 2:30 a.m. is completely abandoned, as if the world left this county while I slept. My old Crown Vic headlights cut through the thick, soup-like fog, splitting the dark into yellow beams. Outside, trees crowd Route 9, their twisted branches leaning over the asphalt like clawed, arthritic fingers reaching to drag the car into the abyss. Every mile feels like sinking into a suffocating swamp. The clock ticks, 2:34, 2:41, 2:48. The only sound is the rhythmic, hypnotic hum of tires against the pavement and the wet, rhythmic slap of wipers. My hands are glued to the wheel, palms sweating against the cracked leather, leaving slick, greasy patches where I white-knuckle the steering for dear life. I keep looking at the rearview mirror, half expecting a shadow in the back seat. How did he get in? The loop plays in my head. My back door had a scratch I ignored days ago. I was blind. He was inside, standing over my bed, watching me sleep, inhaling the air I breathed, touching her clothes. He touched that blue dress, the one Sarah wore the night of our final, soul-shattering fight before she walked out into the rain to disappear forever. The turnoff for the quarry appears, a jagged, hemorrhaging break in the tree line marked by a rusted sign. I cut the wheel, tires screaming as the car plunges down the path. Branches strike the metal like dead, skeletal fingers scratching violently at the windows, desperate to force their way inside and tear me apart. The path narrows, mud-slicked and treacherous. I kill the headlights 50 yards out, not wanting him to see me coming if he's still lurking. The engine dies, and the silence hits, a heavy, tomb-like weight that presses against my eardrums until I hear my own pulse thundering like a frantic trapped bird. I grab the flashlight, its aluminum body ice cold in my grip, and unclip my holster. I push the door open. The humid air reeks of rotting, putrid vegetation, stagnant swamp water, and something else, the thick, coppery, nauseating stench of fresh, warm blood. Mud sucks at my boots with every step, sounding like wet, visceral tearing. I sweep the beam low, looking for tracks, but the ground is a mess of churned earth and weeds. I reach the edge of the quarry. The drop-off is a sheer, 100-foot cliff over a pit of black, oily water that reflects nothing, not even the moon, as if the night itself is afraid to look down. Then, my beam hits something out of place, bright, royal blue silk. My breath hitches. She sits on a lawn chair at the precipice, back to me, long hair draped over her shoulders. From behind, she looks like she's relaxing, waiting for someone to join her. The silk ripples in the breeze, the silver zipper gleaming like a cruel, razor-sharp needle under my trembling light. "Hey," I whisper, my voice cracking. She doesn't move. I take agonizing steps forward, the mud pulling at me as if the earth itself wants to keep me from witnessing the horror ahead. My heart beats so hard I feel it hammering against my teeth. Asterisk, get it together, detective. It's just a scene, asterisk, but my brain knows better. This isn't just a scene, it's a grotesque, calculated message written in agony. I reach the side of the chair. My hand trembles uncontrollably, and the light dances wildly across her slack face. I look, and the breath leaves my lungs in a sharp, jagged gasp of pure terror. Not Sarah, thank God. But it's someone's daughter. Her skin is a chalky, deathly gray, lips bruised a deep, necrotic purple, eyes wide and staring blankly into the night, glassy, shattered windows into a void where her soul was violently evicted. Her throat is the worst part. Someone used a jagged, serrated blade to carve a wide, grinning crescent from ear to ear. The blood has soaked the silk, turning it into a wet, blackish-maroon crust that is still weeping dark, sticky droplets. The wound is so hideously deep, so cavernous, that when the night wind blows, a wet, sickening whistle rasps through the exposed, severed windpipe. Her hands are duct-taped to the armrests, the skin around the wrists shredded raw from her frantic, futile struggle against the binding. Taped between her stiff, blood-caked fingers is a small, black object, a burner phone. As the light lingers on her frozen, mask-like face, the screen flashes a blinding, toxic blue. It starts vibrating violently against her dead, cold flesh, the mechanical buzzing sounding like a swarm of angry hornets. I stare at the screen, my vision blurring. The caller ID just says one word, home. My hand stays frozen in the air, hovering just inches away from her cold, stiff fingers. The phone keeps vibrating, the movement making her dead hand twitch against the silver tape. It looks like she's trying to point at me, like she's accusing me from beyond the grave. The blue light from the screen illuminates her gray chin, casting long, horrific shadows up her face. I reach out, my fingers brushing against her icy skin. God, it feels like touching a stone pulled from a frozen river. I slide the burner phone out of her grip. The screen is slick, covered in a thin layer of her sweat and the morning dew. I press the green button and lift it to my ear. Do you like how it fits her, detective? The voice is clearer now, louder, coming through the digital speaker with a sickening crispness. The background noise on his end is quiet, too quiet. No cars, no wind. Just a faint, rhythmic ticking, like an old grandfather clock. You're a sick piece of trash, I spit into the receiver, my voice trembling with a mix of pure rage and adrenaline. I'm going to track this signal. I'm going to find the hole you crawled out of, and I'm going to put you down. The chuckle comes back, low and wet, vibrating against my eardrum. Oh, you won't need to track anything. I'm right here. Well, not there, but I'm watching you through the glass. You look smaller in the dark, less confident than you do in the papers. My head snaps around. I drop the flashlight beam and whip it across the tree line, the bright white light cutting through the fog, hitting thick trunks, wild bushes, empty gravel. Nothing. Just shifting shadows that play tricks on your eyes. My heart is hammering so loud I'm afraid he can hear it through the phone. Stop looking at the trees, detective. I told you. I'm home. The word hits me like a physical blow to the chest, home. The caller ID said home. What did you do? I whisper, my knees suddenly feeling like water. Your back door, remember, the voice says, the tone dropping into that terrifying, intimate whisper again. I told you it was unlocked. But I didn't say I left. The sheets on your bed are surprisingly soft. Sarah had good taste. It's a shame she isn't here to keep me company, but don't worry. I brought a friend. She's on your kitchen floor right now, making the most beautiful, gurgling noises. A sudden, sharp sound echoes through the line. It's a wet, choking gasp, followed by the frantic, desperate scratching of fingernails against linoleum tile. The exact floor I was standing on less than an hour ago. She's trying to crawl into the living room, he says, his voice muffled, like he's tilting the phone away to look down at someone. But her legs don't work anymore. I had to slice the tendons behind her knees. Just to keep her still. You understand, right? It's hard to have a conversation when someone keeps running away. My breathing turns into ragged, desperate gasps. I'm already running back to the Crown Vic, my boots tearing through the thick mud, throwing gravel behind me. I dive into the driver's seat, smash the keys into the ignition, and the engine roars to life. Don't hang up, I scream into the phone, slamming the car into reverse, the tires spinning, throwing mud all over the bushes as I back out of the clearing. Don't you touch her. If you touch her again, I swear to God. You're 30 minutes away, detective. Even if you push that heavy piece of metal to 90, the fog is too thick. You won't make it. But hey, I'll leave the speaker on, so you can hear every single second of it. The line stays open. The sound of my speeding engine echoes in my ears, mixed with the terrifying, distant sounds coming from my own apartment. A heavy thud, the sound of a chair turning over, and then, a low, agonizing moan that sounds like a woman begging for her life through a mouth full of blood. I slam my foot on the gas pedal, the speedometer needle shaking as it passes 80. Route 9 is a blur of black trees and gray fog. My headlights cut through the darkness, but all I can see is the image of my own kitchen floor, turning red. The needle on the dash hits 95, and the engine is screaming louder than the wind. The open phone line sits on the passenger seat, broadcasting the soundtrack of my hell into the dark cabin. You ever hear the sound of someone drowning in their own apartment? It's not like the movies, it's not a clean gasp. It's a thick rattle, the sound of air trying to push through a throat completely filled with fluid. Listen closely, detective, the voice comes through the speaker, calm, steady, unbothered by my speed. Hear that? That's her trying to tell you where it hurts. She can't get the words out. The human body is so fragile. You cut just the right spot, not deep enough to hit the carotid, just enough to open the airway, and the mess is artistic. It's like painting with a broken pipe. I smash my palm against the wheel, cursing so loud my throat feels raw. The tires screech as I take a blind curve on Route 9, almost losing the car to the gravel ditch. The fog is a solid wall of gray, flashing yellow as I pass rusted street lamps. I can't see 10 feet ahead, but I don't care. If I wrap this metal box around a pine tree, at least the noise will stop. Leave her alone. I roar, my voice breaking, tears of fury and panic blurring the neon dashboard lights. I'm almost there. You want me? Stay there and face me. Don't be a coward. Coward? The voice lets out that low, wet chuckle. I'm sitting on your favorite leather armchair, drinking your cheap bourbon. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. But she might not last until you park. Her fingers are getting cold. She's scratching the wood panels, leaving beautiful, dark smudges along the baseboard. It looks like a kid playing with finger paints. Through the speaker, I hear a heavy, dull thud, followed by a sharp, dragging sound. It's a body being pulled across the floor, piece by piece. Stop, please, just stop, I whisper, completely broken, detective pride draining out of me, replaced by hollow despair. You didn't say please when you ignored the warnings, the voice drops into a flat, ice-cold tone. You thought you were the only one who could play in the dark. You thought because you wear a badge, the monsters wouldn't look into your window. We've been watching you for months. We know the layout of your mind, and it's just as dirty as this kitchen floor. Suddenly, the engine tone changes. I'm hitting the city outskirts. Industrial warehouses, abandoned gas stations, and cracked concrete blur by. The city clock tower reads 2:54 a.m. I've made a 30-minute drive in less than 20, but every second felt like a year. I'm turning onto Elm Street, I say, my teeth chattering from adrenaline, my hands shaking so violently I can barely keep the car straight. I'm 5 blocks away. You hear me? 5 blocks. I hear your sirens, detective. Oh, wait, you didn't call for backup, did you? The voice mocks. Smart move. You wanted to keep this between us. You didn't want the chief seeing what happens when you leave your back door unlocked. Don't worry. I appreciate the privacy. I'm going to open the front door for you, so you don't have to waste time with your keys. The line doesn't go dead. He leaves the phone on the counter. The background noise changes. The wet, dragging sounds have stopped. The apartment is quiet now, save for that steady, rhythmic ticking of the kitchen clock. Tick, tick, tick. I slide the Crown Vic around the corner, tires smoking against the curb. I don't turn off the ignition, I throw the door open, drawing the Glock from my holster with a slick, practiced motion. My boots hit the pavement, running toward the old brick building. The front entrance is heavy wood. Usually locked, but tonight, it's wide open, swinging slowly on its hinges in the warm breeze. I fly up the stairs, 2 at a time, chest burning, heart hitting my ribs like a sledgehammer. The second-floor hallway is dark, the overhead light flickering with a dull, buzzing hum. I reach apartment 2B. The door isn't just open, it's unlatched, pushed in about 2 inches, revealing a thin, vertical slice of absolute blackness inside. The metallic, sweet stench of blood is already leaking into the hallway, thick enough to taste. I put my boot against the wood and push. The door swings open with a slow, heavy creak, clicking against the wall as it hits the rubber bumper. The apartment inside is completely dark, except for the pale, dirty moonlight filtering through the kitchen window, and that single, sickening square of light from the burner phone still sitting on the counter. I step inside, my boots making no sound on the cheap carpet. My Glock is raised, both hands locked onto the grip, my sights sweeping the shadows. From the front door, you can see right down the narrow hallway into the kitchen, and that's where the smell is coming from. It hits you like a physical punch to the throat, that hot, iron-heavy stench of open flesh, mixed with the sharp smell of my own spilled liquor. Police. I whisper, but the word doesn't even carry. It just dies in my throat. Nothing moves. The flat, dead silence is only broken by that rhythmic, mechanical ticking from the wall, tick, 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 and the low, shallow rasping coming from the floor just past the kitchen island. I move down the hallway, my back scraping against the wallpaper. The darkness here feels thick, like you're wading through deep water. I keep my eyes wide, my pupils straining to catch any shift in the shadows, any glint of steel, a silhouette waiting in the bedroom doorway. But the apartment feels completely empty, empty in that terrible, hollow way a house feels right after a funeral. I reach the edge of the linoleum floor, and my boot steps into something slick, something wet that doesn't feel like water. The leather of my sole slides slightly, and when I look down, the pale moonlight shows a wide, dark smear across the white tiles. It's thick, nearly black under the dark night sky, tracing a jagged, desperate path from the kitchen table all the way to the base of the cabinets. I lower my weapon just an inch, my eyes tracking the trail of blood until they hit a shape curled up against the bottom cupboard. My stomach drops into a cold, bottomless pit. It's a young girl, maybe 20, wearing a torn white summer dress that's now completely ruined, soaked through with heavy, maroon crusts. Her knees are bent at a grotesque, impossible angle, twisted outward like a broken doll. The killer wasn't lying. The tendons behind her knees are completely severed, clean, white edges of bone and tissue peeking through the jagged gashes in her skin. She's still breathing, but barely. Her chest is rising in short, pathetic hitches, each breath producing a tiny, bubbling pool of red at the corner of her lips. Her fingers are still hooked into the wood of the cabinet, her nails torn to the quick, bloody lines scratched into the white paint where she tried to drag her dead weight away from him. I drop to my knees, completely forgetting about the threat in the room, my hands shaking wildly as I press my palm against her neck, looking for a pulse. Her skin is clammy, freezing, sliding against my fingers under the layer of cold sweat. Hey, look at me, I stammer, my voice dropping all the detective authority, sounding like a terrified kid. I'm here. I've got you. Keep your eyes open. Her eyelids flutter, glassy, pale blue eyes rolling back into her head. She tries to form a word, her mouth opening to reveal teeth completely stained with crimson, but all that comes out is a soft, wet hiss as the air escapes through the open wound in her throat. A shallow, bubbling groan that tells me she's got less than a minute left. And then, right next to my knee, the burner phone on the counter flashes again. The speaker is still active. The line never disconnected. She really tried, detective, the voice says, coming through the small plastic grate with a terrifying, crystal clarity. The sound doesn't sound like it's coming from miles away anymore. It sounds loud, vibrating off the kitchen tiles. Where are you? I scream, turning my head wildly, looking toward the dark bedroom, the bathroom, the open closet doors. I'll kill you. I swear to God I'll kill you. You're looking the wrong way again, the voice chuckles, that wet, disgusting sound echoing perfectly in the small room. Look down, below the window. The fire escape. My head snaps toward the kitchen window. The glass is unlocked, slid up about 3 inches, and sitting on the rusted metal grating outside, just past the sill, is a small, silver digital camera, its tiny green recording light blinking steadily in the dark. He wasn't just here. He's right outside, watching me hold this dying girl through the glass. I don't even think. I just lunge toward the window. My Glock is an extension of my arm as I slam the sash up and dive onto the iron grating of the fire escape. The metal groans under my weight, vibrating and shaking as I hit it with everything I've got. The air outside is cold, biting compared to the stifling heat of the apartment, and the smell of the city, soot, exhaust, and garbage, hits me like a physical blow. I sweep the flashlight beam across the alleyway. The alley is a narrow, claustrophobic slit between 2 brick buildings, filled with overflowing dumpsters and piles of wet cardboard. My light cuts through the darkness, revealing nothing but dripping pipes and the jagged outlines of rusted metal stairs. Come out. I roar, my voice echoing off the brick walls, bouncing back at me. Show yourself. Nothing. Just the distant hum of a siren somewhere miles away, and the drip, drip, drip of condensation from a leaky gutter. I look down at the silver camera sitting on the sill. Its screen is dark now, the green recording light finally dead. I grab it, my fingers trembling so hard I almost drop it onto the concrete 5 stories down. I shove it into my jacket pocket and vault over the railing, landing hard on the iron stairs, the metal ringing out like a bell in the dead of night. I take the stairs 3 at a time, my boots slamming against the rusted grating, every step a gamble that the rotted bolts will hold. I reach the alley floor and skid into the darkness, my flashlight beam darting like a frenzied animal, illuminating trash bags, broken glass, the oily puddles on the ground. There. A shadow moves at the far end of the alley, near the mouth where it opens onto the main street. It's quick, fluid, like a ripple in a dark pond. I sprint toward it, my lungs burning, every inhale feeling like I'm breathing in broken glass. Stop! I scream, but the figure doesn't even break stride. It just flows into the darkness of the next street over. I burst out of the alleyway and onto the sidewalk. The street is completely empty, streetlights buzzing overhead, casting long, jaundiced shadows across the asphalt. The silence is absolute, a vacuum that sucks the sound of my ragged breathing out of the air. My head is spinning, the adrenaline finally starting to crash, leaving me with a sick, hollow feeling in the pit of my stomach. I look back at the apartment window, 5 stories up, still open, and I realized the truth. He didn't run because he was scared. He ran because the show was over. I pulled the burner phone out of my pocket. The screen is still glowing with the word home. I press the end call button, and the silence that follows is even worse than the voice. I walk back toward the building, my legs feeling heavy, leaden. Each step is a struggle against the weight of what I just saw in that kitchen, that girl, those eyes, the way she looked at me. She wasn't just dying, she was waiting for me to catch up, waiting for me to be the hero, and I failed. I walked right into his trap. I played every single move exactly the way he wanted. I climbed the fire escape again, slow, methodical, my hands shaking as I pull myself through the window back into my own kitchen. The scene is exactly as I left it, but the room feels different now. It's not just a mess, it's a stage. I kneel back down by the cabinet. The girl is gone. Not the body, but the spark. The way she was fighting, the way she was trying to tell me something. Now she's just still, her skin taking on that waxy, translucent quality of the truly dead. I reach out to close her eyes, my fingers touching her cold, stiff eyelids, and that's when I see it. Taped to the floorboards right beneath her hand, a small, white slip of paper. I peel it off. The paper is stained with her blood, sticky and warm. I hold it up to the pale moonlight. It's not a note. It's a photograph. I flip it over, and my heart stops. It's a picture of me, taken from inside my own bedroom, taken while I was sleeping last night. I'm curled up on my side, the fan wobbling above me, and right there, just inches from my head, is a hand, a pale, scarred hand resting on the pillow, right next to my own cheek. The monster wasn't in my kitchen. He was in my bed. I stare at the photo until the image blurs, edges curling under my sweat. My hands shake, paper fluttering like a moth. The hand in the picture, it's pale, covered in thin, ropey scars from deep, jagged cuts that never healed right. My throat tightens, a hard knot of panic. I'm not just looking at a threat, I'm looking at a violation. He was breathing the same air while I dreamed, watching my chest rise, counting seconds until he decided to move. I stand up, knees popping in the hollow silence. I have to get out. Every corner feels alive, pulsating with his presence. Shadows look solid. The closet door, which I closed, stands ajar, a sliver of darkness peering out like an eye. I stumble toward the kitchen island, clutching the Glock, knuckles white, finger hovering near the trigger. I need the precinct. I need sirens, lights, to wash away this suffocating feeling with reality. I pull my radio, thumb hitting the switch. Static. A flat, dead hiss like the line earlier. I tap it. Nothing. He didn't just break in, he cut the tether to the world. He turned my home into a private theater, and I'm the only one with a front row seat. I walk toward the bedroom, heart hammering dread against my ribs. I don't want to go in. Instincts scream at me to run. But I can't. If he was in my bed, what else did he leave? I push the door open with my gun barrel. The room is freezing. The air conditioner is blasting, turning my breath into ghostly wisps. The bed is unmade. Sheets, which I pulled tight before I left for the quarry, are tangled into a chaotic nest. Center of the mattress, a small, black velvet box. I don't want to touch it. Every fiber says this is the end. I walk toward the bed, boots crunching. I look down. Hundreds of small, silver metallic shavings are scattered across the carpet. I kneel, picking one up. Bits of a key. Someone took a hacksaw to a collection of house keys and scattered the pieces like confetti. I reach the bed and stare at the box. Elegant. Expensive. I pick it up, the velvet warm against my skin. Heavy. I flip the latch, the click sounding like a gunshot. Inside isn't a ring. It's a tooth. A human incisor, bleached white, on a bed of crimson silk. Wrapped around the root is a thin, gold chain. My chain. The one I thought I lost at the precinct 3 weeks ago. He didn't just steal my piece. He's been harvesting pieces of my life, building this altar to my destruction. I hear a floorboard creak. A weight shifting. A footfall. Slow. Deliberate. My head snaps toward the doorway. I raise the Glock, adrenaline turning into a cold, lethal focus. The shadow in the hall isn't moving toward the door. It's standing right there, waiting. I know you're there, I bark, voice echoing, hollow. A slow, rhythmic tapping begins on the doorframe. Tap, 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 the sound of a fingernail against wood. You should have looked under the bed, detective, the voice says. Not from the phone. From the hallway. Right there. But then again, you never were the observant type. I pivot, aiming at the dark space behind the door, but the room is empty. Eyes widen. The voice was in the hall, but the hall is clear. Up here, the voice whispers, a soft, raspy breeze against my neck. I spin, but the room is empty. My mind is fracturing. The terror is so intense it's bleeding into hallucination. I look up. The fan is wobbling, its shadow dancing in jagged circles. Tucked into the blade is a small, silver recorder, spinning, looping the audio of his voice. He's not in the room. He's playing me. He's watching me lose my mind from somewhere else, recording every second of the breakdown. I tear the recorder off the fan, smashing it against the floor, but as I look at the shattered plastic, I see something else. A small, black leather notebook lies tucked under the bed. I reach for it, fingers brushing the spine, and that's when the bedroom light clicks out. Total darkness. Darkness that tastes like iron. My pulse roars in my ears like a rising tide of bile. In the oppressive silence, I hear a new, terrifying sound. A zipper, slowly, steadily, opening, releasing the scent of stagnant rot and old, dried blood into the air, signaling the final act of this sick, demented game. The sound of the metal teeth separating is deafening in the pitch black. It's the sound of a secret being peeled open. My heart isn't just beating, it's vibrating in my chest, a frantic drum set that's about to shatter my ribs. I don't dare move. I don't dare breathe. I just stand there, the cold weight of the Glock extended in front of me, my eyes wide, desperately trying to map the room in the crushing dark. Don't reach for the light, detective, the voice purrs, and this time, it's not coming from a speaker. It's coming from the corner of the room, right by the closet. It's raw, wet, and vibrantly human. The dark is where the truth lives. You've been living in the light your whole life, hiding behind that badge, pretending that the world is a place that makes sense. It's not. It's just a long, slow decay, and you're finally starting to rot along with it. I pivot toward the voice, my thumb hovering over the weapon-mounted light. I'm scared to click it. If I do, I might see him, but I might also reveal exactly where I'm standing. I'm a target. I'm a setup. I'm the punchline to a joke I didn't even know I was in. Who are you? I growl, my voice raspy and thin. Show yourself. Stop with the games. Games. A soft, dry laugh drifts across the room, followed by the sound of fabric rustling. You think this is a game? I'm the only one who actually sees you. I'm the only one who knows that underneath that starched uniform and that desperate need to save everyone, you're just a broken man who couldn't even keep his own woman from walking out the door. I saw the way you looked at her picture this morning. Still holding on to the ghost, aren't you? A match flares. The sudden, violent burst of orange light is blinding. For a split second, the bedroom is bathed in flickering warmth. He's standing by the dresser, leaning casually against the mirror. He's wearing a heavy, dark coat that looks like it's seen too much rain, and his face, it's a blur. He's holding a small lighter, the flame dancing near his mouth. He isn't looking at me. He's looking at the photograph of me sleeping, the one he left on the floor, and he's slowly holding the edge of the paper into the fire. The edge curls, turns black, and starts to glow. I pull the trigger. The bang is a shockwave that turns the room into a strobe light of muzzle flashes. 1, 2, 3 shots. The wood of the dresser splinters. Glass shards fly like shrapnel. But the flame doesn't go out. He moves, not like a man, but like a shadow, liquid and fast, and the light vanishes. The darkness returns, heavier than before. The smell of sulfur and burnt paper hangs in the stagnant air. Mist, he whispers, his voice now coming from right behind my left shoulder. I spin, swinging the gun, but my arm hits nothing but thin air. I scramble back, tripping over the bed, my skin crawling with the certainty that he's breathing right in my face. I smash my thumb against the tactical light switch. A brilliant, blinding beam of white light cuts through the room. The dresser is riddled with holes. The mirror is a spiderweb of cracks. But the room is empty. I'm alone. My breath comes in ragged, desperate gulps. I'm sweating so hard my shirt is plastered to my back. I check the hallway, the bathroom, the living room. Nothing. He's gone. It's like he dissolved into the floorboards. I walk back into the kitchen, my legs shaking so violently I have to lean against the counter to stay upright. The burner phone is still lying there, face up. I walk over to it, ready to smash it to pieces, when I see something that freezes the marrow in my bones. The phone isn't on the counter anymore. It's sitting on the floor. Right next to the girl. And the screen, it's not showing home anymore. It's a live video feed. It's a shot of me. From behind. Right now. In the kitchen. I'm standing over the girl, looking down at the phone. And in the background of the screen, just behind my own reflection in the window, I can see the closet door in the bedroom. It's wide open. And someone is standing inside it, watching me. I don't turn around. I can't. Because in the reflection on the phone screen, I see him stepping out of the shadows of the bedroom, a long, thin blade glinting in the pale kitchen light. He isn't running. He's walking slowly, savoring the moment, his boots making no sound on the floor. I have one bullet left in the chamber. I look at the girl on the floor, then at the reflection of the killer drawing closer. I don't have time to turn. I don't have time to aim. I have to gamble on the glass. I don't turn. I don't breathe. I watch his reflection in the phone screen, his silhouette growing larger, darker, cutting through the moonlight like a jagged piece of obsidian. He's closing the distance with that sickening, predator's grace, steady, unhurried, absolutely certain of the kill. I can see the blade now, a thin, surgical-looking steel that catches the dim light, swaying slightly in his grip. He's 10 feet away. 8. My finger tightens on the trigger. I don't look for him, I look for the target. I aim at the corner of the kitchen window, right where the glass meets the rusted frame, knowing the reflection will betray me if I miscalculate. He's 5 feet away. I can hear the soft, rhythmic scrape of his boots on the linoleum. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I whip my body around, a violent, snapping motion, and fire blindly. The glass explodes. Not the window, the mirror above the kitchen sink. The sound is a crystalline scream, thousands of silver shards raining down like freezing sleet. The impact of the bullet shatters the glass frame, and for a split second, the room is filled with a blinding spray of flying debris. He doesn't scream. He doesn't grunt. He just pauses. The momentum of my turn carries me, and I crash into the kitchen table, the wood groaning under the force of my weight. I roll, my Glock clicking on an empty chamber, the slide locked back in a mocking, hollow hold. I'm defenseless. A dead man waiting for the follow-through. I look up, my chest heaving, expecting the blade to come down. But the room is empty. The air is thick with glass dust, glittering in the faint light like diamond shards. The mirror is a hollow, jagged crater. The closet door in the bedroom stands wide open, a black, hungry mouth, but he's gone. I'm alone again. I scramble backward, my back hitting the cabinets, and grab the burner phone from the floor. The screen is cracked, a spiderweb of fractures crossing the display, but the video feed is still running. I squint at it. It's not a live feed of me anymore. It's a recording. A loop. I'm watching myself stand over the girl, watching myself look at the phone, watching myself turn around. It's a playback of the last 10 seconds, recorded and replayed, over and over, while I was living it. He wasn't behind me. He wasn't even in the room. He's been projecting his presence, hacking into the feed, manipulating the timing to make me fight a ghost while he's miles away. I reach into my pocket for my spare mag, but my fingers hit something else. Cold, hard, and sharp. I pull it out. It's a key. Not a house key. It's an old, tarnished skeleton key, heavy and rusted, with a small, circular tag attached to it. I hold it up to the light. The tag has a single number stamped into the metal, *112*. My pulse skips a beat. 112 isn't a room number. It's the unit number for the storage facility on the outskirts of town, the one I used to own before the money ran out, the one I haven't stepped foot in for 3 years. He didn't just want to break me. He wanted to bring me back to the start. I leave the apartment. I don't care about the girl, the crime scene, the procedure, or the badge sitting on the counter. I run. I leave the door wide open, leaving the apartment to the silence and the settling dust. I get into the Crown Vic, the engine roaring to life with a desperate, metallic rattle. The drive to the storage facility is a blur of neon signs and empty streets. The town looks different from behind the wheel, cold, alien, a landscape of secrets I've spent my life trying to ignore. I pull into the facility at 3:15 a.m. The place is a graveyard of abandoned lives, row after row of corrugated metal doors, all of them locked, all of them holding ghosts. I find Unit 112. The padlock is gone. The door is slightly off its track, a sliver of darkness waiting behind it. I get out of the car, the silence of the facility pressing against my eardrums like deep water. I walk to the door, my hand trembling as I grip the handle. I don't have a weapon. I have a key that doesn't fit a lock that isn't there, and a hole in my chest where my sanity used to be. I push. The door glides open with a low, metallic groan, revealing a small, tomb-like space. It's not empty. In the center of the unit, illuminated by a single, swinging industrial light, is a chair. A wooden, straight-backed chair. And sitting on it, facing away from me, is a figure draped in a thick, heavy blanket. I take a step inside, the concrete floor cold against my boots. "Detective," the voice says. It's coming from the chair. It's not a recording. It's not a phone. It's real. It's weary. It's my own voice. I freeze. My blood turns to slush in my veins. The figure slowly begins to turn the chair. And as the light swings, I finally see the face of the man who's been hunting me. The chair turns slowly, the metal legs scraping against the concrete floor with a harsh, ear-piercing grind that vibrates through my teeth. My breath hitches, getting stuck somewhere in the back of my throat, a dry, ragged blockage. I'm bracing for a monster. I'm bracing for a stranger with scarred hands and a twisted soul. I'm bracing for the end of everything. But as the chair comes around, the light swings with it, hitting the face of the man sitting there. It's me. The same tired eyes, underlined by the same dark, swollen bags from years of graveyard shifts. The same crooked nose I broke during that training exercise in the academy. The same thin, jagged scar along my jawline from a suspect who decided to use a broken bottle. He's wearing my uniform, the shirt is stiff, the badge is polished to a blinding shine, the belt is cinched tight around a waist that looks exactly like mine. I don't move. I don't speak. The air in this tomb of a storage unit feels like it's been sucked out, leaving a vacuum where my heartbeat used to be. My own face stares back at me, but it's wrong. It's an imitation. A mask. The eyes aren't tired like mine, they're wide, alert, and pulsing with a frantic, animalistic energy that I haven't felt in years. Look at you, my own voice says, but it's devoid of my cadence, my rhythm. It's flat. Artificial. You look exhausted, detective. You look like a man who's been running from his own shadow for so long that he's forgotten he's the one casting it. I take a staggering step back, the concrete floor feeling like it's tilting under my boots. You're not real, I whisper, the sound coming out as a strained, broken rasp. This is a hallucination. A break. A fugue state. The thing in the chair laughs, a low, melodic sound that is entirely, terrifyingly wrong coming from my own mouth. He stands up, his movements fluid, precise, and calculated, not like a man, but like a predator measuring the distance to its next meal. He isn't holding a weapon. He doesn't need one. He is the threat. He's the physical manifestation of every mistake, every overlooked lead, and every secret I've buried in the back of my mind. Real is such a boring word, he says, taking a step toward me. The single industrial light flickers above us, casting long, jittery shadows that make it look like he's shifting, melting into the dark, then solidifying back into my own reflection. I'm not a hallucination, detective. I'm the part of you that grew tired of the badge. I'm the part of you that realized the system isn't broken, it's just a playground for people like us. I'm the ambition you buried in the dirt. I'm the rage you drowned in bourbon. He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a small, steel object. It's my service weapon. The one I left in the apartment. You think you're the hunter, he continues, his voice lowering to an intimate, terrifying whisper. But you've been the game since the moment you picked up that phone at 2 a.m. Every move you made tonight, every road you took, every room you cleared, I knew. I planned it. I orchestrated the tragedy so you could finally see who you really are when the lights go out. He tosses the gun at my feet. It clatters against the concrete, the sound metallic and final. Pick it up, he commands. I look down at the weapon. It's cold, lifeless, a heavy piece of steel that feels like a weight tied to my soul. My hands are shaking again, that familiar, uncontrollable tremor that has haunted me since the quarry. I look back at him. My own face is twisted into a grin, a wide, hungry, soulless expression that makes my skin crawl. If you kill me, you kill the only person in this city who actually understands you, he says, leaning in close, his face inches from mine. I can smell the stale bourbon on his breath, my own scent. I can see the microscopic pores on his skin, the exact same freckle by his left ear. It's like looking into a mirror that has decided to have its own life. But if you don't, then I keep going. I keep the girl in the blue dress, the girl in your kitchen, and every other soul that decides to wander into our orbit. The choice is yours, detective. Become the monster, or die trying to stop yourself. He turns his back to me and starts walking toward the shadowed corner of the unit, leaving me alone in the center of the room. I look at the gun. I look at the dark corner where my own shadow is waiting. My thumb moves to the slide release. I have to choose. And for the first time in my life, I realize that the man in the mirror is the only thing I'm actually afraid of. I stand there, the weight of the steel in my hand feeling like a leaden anchor pulling me toward the abyss. The figure in the corner has stopped. He's just a silhouette now, a dark shape against the rusted corrugated metal, waiting for the climax of this sick, demented performance. The industrial light above us flickers, a dying bulb buzzing with a frantic, insect-like intensity, bathing the scene in a harsh, strobe-like rhythm that makes time feel like it's stuttering. I look down at the gun. My finger is white against the trigger guard. If I pull this, I'm not just executing a version of myself, I'm ending the only witness to the rot I've been hiding for years. He's not a shadow. He's a mirror. And for the first time, I understand the violence he's been weaving. It wasn't just to terrorize me, it was to strip me down to the frame. You're waiting for me to blink, aren't you? I say, my voice echoing off the walls, sounding thin and desperate. He doesn't turn around. I'm waiting for you to stop lying, detective. Look at the floor. I glance down. Beneath the dust and grime of the storage unit, there's a pattern. Scratches in the concrete. Thousands of them. They aren't random. They're dates. Years of them, etched with obsessive, surgical precision into the stone. Every case I've ever been assigned, every failure, every victim I couldn't save, the dates are all here. He hasn't been hunting me for weeks. He's been curating my life since the day I entered the academy. The realization is a physical blow that leaves me gasping. I haven't been investigating him. I've been living in a cage he built while I was sleeping, eating, and breathing. I lift the gun, pointing it at the center of his back. My aim is steady now, the tremor gone, replaced by a cold, hollow resolve. The room goes quiet, not the kind of silence that follows a noise, but the heavy, suffocating silence of a grave. If I'm you, I whisper, then I know exactly what you're going to do next. I don't wait for him to respond. I don't give him the satisfaction of a monologue. I pull the trigger. The roar of the shot is deafening in the confined space, a thunderclap of sound that slams into my chest. The muzzle flash blinds me for a heartbeat. I see him jerk forward, the silhouette collapsing into a heap of limbs and shadow. But the sound that follows isn't a scream. It's a wet, guttural laugh. He doesn't fall. He sinks. He slides into the darkness of the corner like ink spilling into water, his form stretching and distorting until he's just a patch of deeper black against the wall. You did it, his voice whispers, now coming from everywhere at once, from the ceiling, the floor, the very metal of the unit itself. You pulled the trigger. You crossed the line. You're not a detective anymore, Yusef. You're just another name on the wall. The light overhead finally pops, showering the floor in sparks and plunging the unit into absolute, soul-crushing darkness. I'm alone with a corpse that isn't there and a silence that's screaming. I rush to the corner, my hands clawing at the wall, but there's nothing. No body. No blood. Just the cold, bare metal of the storage unit. And then, the sound starts. A ringing. Not a digital buzz, not a siren. The heavy, metallic chime of a landline bell, echoing inside my own skull. I reach into my pocket, not expecting to find anything, but my fingers close around the burner phone. It's vibrating with a frantic, violent energy. I pull it out. The screen is pulsing bright red. Incoming call, 2:00 a.m. I answer. Detective, the voice says, and it's no longer mocking. It's cold. Professional. It's the voice of my captain, calling from the precinct, though I know he's been dead for 3 years. We've got a situation at the old quarry. A body was found. Wearing a blue dress. We need you to head out to Route 9 immediately. The cycle doesn't end. It resets. I stand in the dark of the storage unit, the gun heavy in my hand, the phone burning in my palm. The walls are closing in, the dates on the floor beginning to glow with a faint, hellish light. I'm not running anymore. I'm waiting for the next ring. I'm waiting for the next ride into the dark. I walk to the door, the concrete floor beneath my boots feeling like it's made of glass. I push it open, and the world outside isn't the storage facility anymore. It's the entrance to my own apartment building. The streetlights are buzzing, the fog is rolling in off the marshes, and somewhere, in the distance, I hear the faint, haunting sound of a fan wobbling on a rusted hinge. It's 2 a.m. And my phone starts to ring. The cycle isn't a loop, it's a tightening noose. I stand on the sidewalk outside my apartment building, the city lights blurred by the relentless, suffocating fog. The air tastes like ozone and stale regret. My hand is still gripped around the burner phone, its screen glowing with that aggressive, pulsing red. The ring, that heavy, mechanical tolling, isn't coming from the phone anymore. It's coming from the air itself. It's vibrating in my marrow. I don't go inside. I can't. I know exactly what's waiting in 2B. I know the girl, the blue dress, the kitchen floor, the smell of copper, and the sensation of my own life being carved out of me like a tumor. I look up at my window. The glass is dark, but for the first time, I see the movement behind the curtain. A silhouette. My silhouette. Watching me from above, waiting for me to walk through the front door so the show can begin again. I turn around, ready to run, but the street is gone. There's no asphalt, no parked cars, no neon signs. Just a long, narrow hallway of black brick that stretches into an infinite, suffocating throat. Every direction I look, I see the same thing, the quarry, the storage unit, the bedroom. They've bled together, a collage of my own failures stitched into a landscape of madness. You really thought you could walk away? The voice is right beside me. Not behind me, not in front of me, but inside the center of my brain. I don't look over. I know who's standing there. I don't need to see the scarred hands or the familiar, soulless grin. I can feel him. He's the cold weight in my chest. He's the reason I can't breathe. I am the one who keeps the record, he whispers, his breath warm and smelling of bourbon against my ear. I am every lie you told yourself to keep that badge clean. I am the silence you chose when you should have shouted. You didn't find me, detective. You birthed me. I raise the gun. This time, there's no hesitation. There's no fear. There's only the absolute, blinding clarity of a man who realizes he has no soul left to lose. I pressed the barrel against my own temple. The metal is freezing, a sharp, biting cold that grounds me in the finality of the moment. If I go, I rasp, my voice sounding like grinding stone, you go with me. Try it, he laughs, a sound that tears through the silence like a jagged blade. But you've already pulled the trigger 1,000 times. You're just a ghost reliving your own death, trapped in the orbit of a 2 a.m. phone call. I close my eyes. I can hear the fan in my apartment, that slow, rhythmic, agonizing wobble. Thud thud, thud thud, I can smell the stagnant water of the quarry. I can feel the texture of the silk dress against my fingertips. Everything is collapsing into this one, singular point. The detective. The monster. The victim. The judge. We are all just atoms in the same rotting body. It's time to wake up, I whisper. I pull the trigger. There is no bang. There is no flash. There is no darkness. There is only the sound of a heavy, retro landline ringing on a kitchen counter. 2:14 a.m. The fan in my apartment doesn't spin, it just wobbles, cutting the humid summer air into heavy, suffocating chunks. I open my eyes. I'm lying on the couch, the faux leather sticking to my skin, the room bathed in that familiar, sick neon glow of the alarm clock. My chest is heaving. My hand is resting on the side of the sofa, right where the burner phone should be. It's not there. I sit up, my joints popping like dry wood. I walk to the kitchen. The counter is clean. No phone. No blood. No girl. The apartment is silent. Just the sound of the city breathing outside, the distant hum of traffic, the slow, rhythmic tick of the wall clock. I walk to the back door. The lock is solid. The frame is intact. I let out a breath I feel like I've been holding for a century, my shoulders dropping, the adrenaline finally washing out of me, leaving me hollowed out and shivering. I turn back to the living room, ready to collapse, ready to sleep, ready to pretend it was just a nightmare born from too much bourbon and too many cold cases. But as I pass the refrigerator, I catch my reflection in the stainless steel surface. I stop. I reach up and touch my jaw. There, etched into my skin, fresh, raw, and bleeding, is a jagged, thin white scar. And from the pocket of my uniform shirt, which is hanging on the back of the kitchen chair, I hear a soft, muffled sound. I don't look at the phone. I don't need to. Because on the kitchen wall, written in a deep, dark, dried maroon that I know will never wash off, are the words. See you at 2:00.